Good afternoon, and thank you for joining. We're going to wait just another minute to give everyone a chance to join the meeting. And we're going to ask that you please keep your line on mute throughout the webinar. Thank you. Okay, I have two after. We're going to go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Shingo Model Executive Overview, sponsored by Caldwell and Associates. Caldwell and Associates transfers virtual and on-site operational excellence to small and medium-sized companies through the Shingo Model in safe, lean, Six Sigma consulting, training, and coaching. CNA will partner with your leadership team to get your workforce safely through the COVID-19 pandemic while producing quality products and services for the customers. We specialize in operational excellence and critical business problem solving. CNA is comprised of independent, certified Master Black Belts and Lean Sensei practitioners with over 30 years of domestic and international experience. For today's series, we will be joined by Dr. Andrew Lux and R.C. Caldwell. Dr. Andrew is an operations and technical leader with extensive experience in overseeing and directing global operations within Class 2 and Class 3 medical device and pharmaceutical manufacturing firms. His expertise ranges in leading business transformations or turnarounds, coordinating and leading strategic acquisition, business development, transactions, and revenue growth strategies for startup and mid-sized companies. His background is in directing companies ranging from startups to multi-million-dollar global business, including divisions for Johnson & Johnson, GE, Medtronic, Baxter, and others. RC has over 30 years of management, engineering, and manufacturing experience from Johnson & Johnson, General Motors, Goodrich Aerospace, Cintas, and Sinclair Community College in the United States, Europe, Mexico, Canada, and China. He led the Global Partner Development Supplier Excellence Group that resolves critical quality and capacity problems at strategic suppliers while saving Johnson & Johnson $27 million per year. At the conclusion of this webinar, we hope that you learn why you should develop a rebuild and recovery strategy. We're going to provide a high-level rebuild and recovery strategy roadmap, how to close the gap from roadmap to sustaining excellence in your organization. And we're also going to give you the mechanism used to build your culture for sustaining excellence. Andrew?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. The agenda for today basically is to kind of review the business environment, the conditions that we're facing, all of us are facing right now with the pandemic, and a lot of uncertainty. Talk about the rebuild and recovery strategy that Danielle mentioned. RC will be covering the Shingo Model approach, and how it relates to a positive culture, which is important from a recovery perspective, and then the sustaining excellence methodology, and then the Shingo model itself, and then just a general review of how we can help you. Next slide, please. So today, obviously, we're challenged with the COVID-19 issue. It's causing a lot of uncertainty, chaos, almost. A lot of disruption as far as governmental oversight and potential governmental oversights forthcoming in the future. Disruption due to the inability of how to control this thing, and changing mandates that are going to be forthcoming as well. A lot of concern as far as how you engage employees and providing worker safety, and the resultant infrastructure requirements and investments to guarantee that working safety environment. Next slide, please. So what should we address? First of all, safety concerns for employees obviously is paramount. We need to focus on opportunities. I think if we focus on the losses or the issues per se, would limit you. So it's important to really look at how we can turn this around and really view this from an opportunity perspective. What does this new business, doing business in this new way, open up opportunities for us? Don't focus on setbacks. Look at what we can do from a value creation point of view. That ultimately will win the day. Value creation from the customer perspective. Next slide, please. Overall, the market will recover. It will happen. The question is, how can you take advantage of that now to prepare for that recovery so that you can hit the ground running effectively when that does recover? What are some of the things that we need to get our arms around? You need a strategy, a recovery strategy. It's got to be documented, effectively communicated to everybody. It's got to be ingrained in the cultural element of the business. And it's got to have an employee education and investment requirements defined with proven methodologies. We don't have time to develop new methods. There are known, well-established methodologies. The Shingo model being one of them, probably the most dynamic, is very apropos for this recovery strategy. Next slide, please. So what's needed? A culture of change, making sure that employees embrace the fact that things will change and continue to change going forward. An effective management that really could lead the way with this cultural change kind of requirement. It's important to get employees engaged in the situation of how the change will evolve, having guiding principles to kind of guide us through this change methodology, and again, using proven time-tested methods to help us through this recovery period. Next slide, please. Marcy?
Thanks, Andrew. Now we get into building and recovery strategy. And this is a high-level approach. And we start with our guiding principle. And in some company, in your companies, you may call it core values. We use the term guiding principles, and you'll see why. And then what you do is timing, and depending on how much the size of your organization, you want to get a commitment from your core management team. If you have you're a small company or a medium-sized company, that may be 5 to 15 people. If it's a major corporation, that may be 300 people that you want to get on board. So the timing depends on the number of people to get alignment and the commitment. And then you want mobilization in your organization. Depending on the size, again, will depend on the time. So in major corporations, it may take 3 to 5 years. In a small company, this may take just 12 months to get to here. And then you want the critical mass to be applying the recovery strategy. Again, that may take depending on the size of the organization. So the next piece of the puzzle is a tactical approach. In this example, I have 3 plants, 6 totally. So you would start with the 3 plants. And what makes us unique is we have a detailed, systematic approach. Okay, we have first, there's a need to be a plant assessment at all 3 plants, and then a systematic operational excellence approach. So that's what makes us different. You'll see this is considered a roadmap. All right, and most consultants have a roadmap. All right, what makes us unique in our roadmap is the details. And when you do the other half of yours, this could be 1 plant to just 2 plants. In this case, I'm using 6. So when we get the mobilization commitment, all right, in this scenario, it may take a couple of years to get there, all right, because you're going to focus on these 3 plants because their needs going to be different in each 3 plants. And then hopefully when you get to that mobilization, you can start doing sustaining. That's the piece of the puzzle that we're going to show you that's new today, and the Shingo model is going to help, and you'll see that. So most programs, like I said, get to a place where they give you great results. They give you excellent tools, which that's what that roadmap will do for you. But you get to a point where you've probably seen this in your organization where it tends to like fall off the cliff. How do you keep it going? How do you keep that momentum going? All right. So that's what creates that gap. And what the Shingo model does for you is close that gap. And you want to close that gap. All right. So the expectations of the Shingo model is to close that gap. And this is the model. It had 5 major components to all organizations. First, they have up top, notice that culture is in the middle, guiding principle, which could be your core values, at the top. All right, everything placed for a reason. The culture is affected by results, guiding principles, system, and tools. And you say, well, I'm in business to make profit. Okay, that's true, but you got to have results to make profit. So that's why results is important. Also, nonprofit organization, they're not making profit, but they got to have results. That's why these components, all of them have to have tools, all of them have to have systems. There's some type of culture behavior, and you want to make sure you have a positive one. And that's why this model is so good. And you're going to see some other things as we walk through it. So what is culture? Here's the interactive portion of it. I want you to take a minute, okay, or 30 seconds, and just, write down culture, or you can text it into or chat it into Danielle. And, if you just want to write it down, that's good. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to think about culture. What is culture in an organization? Okay. Okay, if you wrote down values, beliefs, behavior, then you hit it right on the head. Any form of that, any other words that fits with that. That's what culture is. Who builds the system and tools that impact the culture? Well, in any organization, there's 3 levels. You got your executive team, which is your corporate executives, your president, CEO, vice president. You got middle manager. In big organizations, that's directors, managers. Small organization, that could just be managers. And then you have team members. You have supervisors and first line employees. Those are the people that are affected. So how do they influence culture? The executive team put together the strategy and the direction for the organization in order to get that vision and to go for those guiding principles. The management team does the tactical responsibility of executing that strategy. And then your frontline people is the ones that do the frontline work necessary to meet those tactical responsibilities and those execution to that strategy. So here's another interactive I want you to think about. What is your company's or organization culture? What are the behaviors in your company or organization? So take just about 30 seconds and think about that and write down what you think your organization culture is. What are the things that you see, the behaviors that you see? Okay, here's a couple of examples that you'll see in some companies. You'll see fear, survival attitude. I got to make sure I cover my back. All right. But what you want to see is innovation. You want to see respect, trust. Those are the things that are positive culture. And it's really highlighted in really good organizations. Now, I want to give you an example from Johnson & Johnson. And this is Johnson & Johnson Credo. Okay, that was the last major corporation, Fortune 500 company that I worked for. And I want to use this example. Their credo is like guiding principle. And before you even can get hired in the J&J, you need to know about their credo, you know. And this is not any proprietary information. I'm not going to give you that, and I'm not going to give anything confidential. This is right off their website. So I'm going to take one line in this credo, because all these lines in these credo can fit the Shingo model. But I'm going to take this line: customers' orders must be served promptly and accurately. And I'm going to show you how this thing fits. Okay, you got guiding principles and their dimensions. All right, and the dimensions are started with enterprise alignment, which is the purpose. Then it goes to continuous improvement, which is the process. And then it goes to culture enablers, which is the people. So underneath each one of these dimensions, there's principles. That's equivalent to core values. And there's 10 of them. So I won't go through all of them, but I'm just going to pick one that matches the J&J's credo statement of customers' orders must be served promptly and accurately. Create value for the customer matches it perfectly. Okay, so we're going to line those two up, and we're going to show how this Shingo model works. Okay, first we have alignment with our system in J&J, that we aligned our credo with our systems. And the way we did that is you put it, everybody in Johnson & Johnson has a credo line or credo in their performance appraisal. Okay, so that drives our culture, that drives our behavior to those credo values or the guiding principle. And that also drives delighting our customer. So I have an example, a nurse, we got a complaint from a nurse in the US about 3 bolts that was used for orthopedic surgery. And the 3 bolts, it should have been 4 bolts. So one of them was missing. So since we had this alignment, we were able to let everybody know we needed to find out where this occurred. So we found out that it traced back to our system to a supplier in Switzerland. So we were able to go to the supplier and tell them that it was one of our credo principles that was violated, and they need to show us the operation. We went all the way back to the operation where it was packaged. So we knew we had to continuously improve that. We need to have tools, so we use Lean Six Sigma tools. So we were able to improve the system, drive it back, and see how, if we achieve our KPIs, key performance indicators, if we start eliminating that problem, and no other nurse, no other hospital. So we were able to align that with our KPIs. And from that new reports, we were able to refine our tools until we eliminated totally. So what the model shows you is a closed loop system, and it's also infinite. If you can always do this over and over again, which that's what sustained that, closed that gap. Now, let me show you some details. This is an operational excellence key performance indicator in companies that practice it. And in our case, we had safety as one of them. And everybody right now, you should have safety as part of your measurement. And you should be measuring how many days without any recordables, and also how many days without COVID-19 case. By doing that, you're encouraging your people to create a moving bubble. And in your organization, will, as a leader, you want to create a bubble. And then after that, you want to have quality measurements. All right, and then you want to have delivery measurements, market share, and productivity. And we're going to talk more about this Johnson & Johnson case of customer orders must be served promptly and accurately. What we use is line item fill rate. So that means on a customer's purchase order, every line on that need to be filled 100%. And if we miss, out of 1 million parts, we only want 3 missed. All right. So we kept track of all that data. And that made sure that we were living up to our principles. Also, first-time quality. We wanted to track that, not from our doc, but from our customers. And we had customers like Walmart. So Walmart got 1 million parts of us real easily. We can find out if we was meeting our parts per million. So 99.5 is not good. 96, 98 is not good. 99 is not good. We wanted 100% or 99.9999. Okay, that's how good we wanted it to be. So let's recap. COVID-19, the uncertainty. Andrew mentioned that, and we need to build a recovery. We're going through a second bubble too. So the signs is we're going through right now a second bubble. So you might have to, whatever strategy you had in place before the second bubble may need to be relooked at, because at some point it's going to impact the market, and the market will recover, like Andrew said earlier. So you need a roadmap. We've provided you a roadmap. Most consultants will provide you a roadmap. The difference and what makes us unique is we have a sustaining vehicle that sustains excellence, and we call it operational excellence. So that bridge you'll get into should look like this, with principles and behaviors connected to your system. That's what you want. As a leader, you always should be out in front, visionary, and guiding your people down the right path. That's what that does, and providing a vehicle for sustainability. If you want to learn more about the Shingo model and the Shingo programs, we have 6 classes that we can provide you, all virtually at your facility. The first one is Discover Excellence, and that's a prerequisite. It talks about all the other ones to get you set for system design, and system design shows you systems, how to drive positive behavior. And then you have culture enabler class that really gets into how to respect and lead with humility. And then continuous improvement talks about continuous flow and how to create that behavior. Enterprise alignment gets back to aligning your people and systems and strategy and throughout your whole enterprise. So that's a big good one. And then Build Excellent is the capstone. You use all your tools that you've learned and create a capstone course. So to give you a little bit of history on the Shingo model, it's a global proven. Andrew mentioned you need something that's proven. This has been proven globally. It's on every continent. It's out of the University of Utah, is where the institute is housed at. The Shingo Prize is one of the world's highest standards for operational excellence. You don't have to go for the prize, and what you have to do is go for excellence. That's the key. But we wanted to tell you about the prize, and it's time tested, and it started in 1989, and it's still been presented. Here are some of the recent recipients. I won't go through them, you can see them. And what I wanted to let you know is Andrew and I, we both worked at Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson, all their plants had operational excellence. So you're not learning this from guys that, just picked it up and read about it, guys that actually experienced it. Here we had 3 plants that chose to go after the Shingo Prize and won. But we had other plants that could have won, but they chose not to. Andrew.
Thank you, RC. So how can we help you? Obviously, as RC had mentioned, training, investing in your employees, which is a cornerstone of the recovery strategy that we're recommending. Specifically training in organizational alignment, team culture building, that's the heart of the Shingo model, and obviously Lean Six Sigma from a business process efficiency perspective, focusing specifically on impacts of COVID-19. The other dimension to our business is consulting support, and specifically on, as I mentioned before, recovery strategy development and deployment, building high performance cultural within the organization, and sustaining excellence through using the Lean Six Sigma tools and the Shingo model. Danielle?
Thank you, Andrew. At this time, I would like to prepare everyone to mark your calendar. This is another free offering that we have available, Thursday, November 19th, 2020. This is the Thursday before Thanksgiving, from noon to 12:45 p.m. We have the expected benefits of Lean Six Sigma, and this will be another executive overview. You can sign up on the website, caldwellandassociatesexcel.com, and we're going to help you build problem solvers and mentors in your organization.
So at this time, I'd like to thank you for attending, taking time out your day. And like Danielle said, if you need to contact us, you can reach us at caldwellandassociatesexcel.com. You can contact any of us, Andrew personally, at 330-289-1041. And you can contact me at 937-367-6743. Thank you very much for your time, and this ends our webinar today. Have a great day and an excellent weekend, everyone.